My video for February the 25th, 2019 is video number 3007. The title is Mind-Blowing Speech by Robert Welch in 1958. Insiders Plan to Destroy America. My son sent me a video saying, "Thought you would like this. I never heard of the speaker until I listened to this." That was a quote of my son. I can't say the speaker's name is familiar, but I used to follow the John Birch Society, which was founded in 1958, ironically by the speaker. I didn't know. I may just add that. It's not even in the blurb. I know there are many who get the message and want to see these things addressed worldwide, not simply in America. There were, among our founding fathers, men of great vision who wanted a more perfect union based on high ideals of human wisdom and equality for all. Yes, they seem to have failed, although my son's mutual friend, Ronnie Robinson, is part of the Trump revolution. As many in this movement would agree, Trump is the antidote to the deep state takeover of the world. I have friends who see it that way. I'd like to see it myself, if only he was not aligned with the non-biblical state of Israel. Of course, many see that as Bible prophecy fulfillment, not realizing that the creation of that state was a demonic plan to eliminate the true Semites and others living in Palestine. Only truth will set us free at long last. Please, God, ... Yes, Ronnie Robinson, of course, was my friend long before my son was even born. I was there when he dedicated his life to Jesus Christ. I've mentioned that in previous videos, and I'm not going to elaborate any more on it here. And he and my son remain friends to this day. In fact, when my son visited his mom up in Pennsylvania earlier over the holidays, Ronnie Robinson was one of the people that he spent some time with. And Ronnie is a wonderful, wonderful man. And there are many wonderful people that are part of the Christian right and part of the political clamor that got Donald Trump elected. Without the fundamentalist and evangelical Christians, Trump would not have stood a chance of getting elected. And if he would have been elected by an even greater margin if there were not so many places in California and New York and other election fixing and rigging systems in place with electronics. I mean, I think Trump would have had a far greater victory than what was reported. But nevertheless, victory was reported, and Trump has been in the White House now over 2 years. Will that bring change? I don't know. He moved the capital of Israel to Jerusalem, and he wants to tear down the mosque, which doesn't make any sense to me. And they want to restore sacrifice, animal sacrifice, which Christians should be absolutely in uproar about, because supposedly Jesus was the end of sacrifice. There's no more need to sacrifice because that sacrifice was once and for all time. That's the Christian message, the message that my friend Ronnie Robinson and my Christian friends all over the world still adopt. But I have other friends that are not Christian based at all. I'm thinking of one couple in particular that I'm not going to name, but they were atheists, yet they were part of the Restore the Republic movement here in Florida, and very active um, in that arena. Let's just suffice it to say that. And I have been affiliated with people that want to restore the republic and the values, and they're not Christian values to me. They're human values. Christianity, when it's a religion, is very divisive. We're right and you're wrong if you have a different opinion. And even Christians among themselves bicker and fight over which interpretation or which emphasis is the right emphasis. To me, there's only one right emphasis: love one another. And those that truly love one another have to first listen to one another without judgment. Find out where the other person's coming from. That makes sense. And mind-blowing speeches aside, we need an awakening. We need to realize that much of what we've been told, most of what we've been told, is simply fabrication. It's simply lies on top of lies. What would happen to humanity if the truth actually came out and it became virtually incontrovertible? Now, there's always going to be dissenters, but what if the majority, the masses, were finally told the truth and awakened to the reality that this world has been manipulated for purposes of control and domination, not purposes of freedom? Now, of course, the founding fathers in the United States were not perfect. They were, many of them, Jefferson included, had slaves, but the slaves were not treated badly according to many reports. They were domestic servants, and they were given homes, and they didn't have all the rights that others had, and there was a demarcation of understanding. There was a separation there. But bear in mind the culture that existed at the time of the American Revolution. Yes, it was not perfect, but it was a more perfect union. It was moving in the right direction. And then, even though Abraham Lincoln, I still hold him as a good example in many respects, he was the first charlatan, that is, bar attorney, to hold the office of President of the United States. And bar attorneys were forbidden to do that. That's just a matter of historical fact as I see it. Now, of course, there's always contention. There's always the disagreeers. Well, I'd like to see somehow the ability of mankind to be shown the truth that is unequivocal and indisputable. I'd like to see us get it and have a foundation of truth through which we can become lovers and respecters of one another, and not butt heads and try to convince the other person that they're wrong. Just love them anyway. Love heals. The virtues of humanity, which seem almost non-existent, can actually heal not only humanity, but the planet and perhaps the universe. We've got to stop the predominance of lies. We've got to stop the war. We've got to stop the money game that controls us and has controlled humanity for eons. That has to change. I long in my heart for real change, and I hope to see it in my lifetime. Please, God, please answer not just my prayers, but the prayers of all honest hearts, of all people that have a similar vision of peace for all. Thank you for listening, and namaste.